Welcome to the Grapefully Yours Wine Podcast. I am Jim Campanini, co-host of the show, with my good friend, the wine butler, Michael Pigeon. Michael, how are you today?
Hot.
Hot?
75 degrees at 7 a.m. in Lowell this morning.
And what's the pigeon thermometer say for the day? What's it supposed to get up to?
Oh, it's supposed to get up to 95.
Yeah, and
95,
we're going to get that for the next couple of days.
Oh, that's hot stuff.
Yeah. I filled up, well, my wife filled up her kiddie pool, so we can dip the toes in and stuff. But it's even too hot to sit in the pool.
It does the job. Well,
Yeah. So my next best thing is, to cool off, whether you have air conditioning or not, is to drink cool white wines, right? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you get Wine Spectator. Mm-hmm. I get Wine Spectator. They had a nice article in this in this month's issue about 10 white grapes you should be drinking now, right? Nice, cool, refreshing grapes. Some of them are very, very, some of them are well known, like Chardonnay, and others, not familiar, but they're exquisite. Known throughout the world, and they are accessible, and they're not very expensive. So if you look at the right places to get them, they've got these wines. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. You're more of a purist, but because it's so hot and you were having a little lunch out on the deck in the shade and you poured yourself white wine, would you put a couple of ice cubes in it? I've never seen you do that, but with this, if you're out there and it's in the shade, but it's 90 degrees, and you're having, would you put ice cubes in your white wine?
Not two. I'd put one in.
Just one.
Yeah. I'd put one in. But I like I like when a white wine warms up a little. I like to taste the flavors and stuff, but it's good that first sip. It's really nice. But I have no problem with people putting ice cubes as long as they don't fill it up with 5 or 6 ice cubes like they're making a cocktail. So you just dilute everything. Yeah. But it's a good tip if you want to dilute the alcohol. Put a couple. I mean, we put you put ice cubes in bourbon. Right, yep. And I do that specifically to dilute the high alcohol content and stuff. But I have no problem with it. People should do what they want, do what they like. But I'd put one ice cube in it. I love I love to experience all those the complexities and tastes and stuff. You lose
that once it gets diluted with too much ice.
Yeah. So but I do keep the bottle chilled all the time. I mean, I wouldn't let it. And I either, if I'm going down into the pergola, I bring a little ice bucket with me. Or if we're on the upper deck, attached to the house, we got the little refrigerator there, so it's no problem. So not only are we going to talk about some of those whites, but we've got two white wines that I consider to be very good for drinking during the summer, but also a red. You could chill red wines. You could put a little chill on them. Certainly, I wouldn't do it with a Cabernet or a Merlot, but there are other grapes that really respond well to chilling. We talked about some, Spanish blends and Portuguese blends. They're great. You make sangria a lot from Portuguese white wines, Portuguese red and white wines. They're made to put a little chill on them. It's the people in their home countries. It gets to 100 degrees in Portugal and Spain, and even when they go to dinner, the restaurants they chill it. So we're going to talk about one specific wine which I really like. It's an Italian wine which takes a chill and takes it nice. Doesn't harm the flavors and stuff. Actually, I think it adds a little to it. Yep. So we're going to taste it.
And before we go any further, we should give a little tip of the hat to WellPoint
Oh, please,
sponsoring
yes.
this
Well,
show.
we have Teddy Panos, our producer in the corner. Teddy, how are you doing?
Good morning,
We
gentlemen.
can't forget them. It's a
No, because we get paid by them, right?
a great place.
Yeah. Did you get your check yet?
Not yet.
No, okay. This Inside Lowell podcast is coming to you from the WellPoint Studios. It's nice and air conditioned in here. Thank WellPoint for
They
that.
take good
too.
care of us.
Yeah. WellPoint, the only health plan offering health care benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Now, did you see the article in the paper that healthcare costs in Massachusetts are up an average 13.4%? It's intolerable. And even the story I was reading in the Globe saying it's just unsustainable, unacceptable, but it's crazy what's going on. It really is.
10 years from now, it'll go up another 10%, and it'll look good back if you look back. Say, oh, it only went up 13%.
No,
It never stops going up, Jim. Healthcare costs are going to keep rising.
providers, everybody. I mean, how can the doctors and nurses be underpaid? Okay, and the providers keep getting more and more increases. Okay, they're not providing the services when you think about it, But anyway, let's get back to wine, okay? Because this might cure all your
Worries.
cure your ailments.
Might. Won't hurt.
All right. So the if you look at the if you go to the here's the Wine Spectator for the month, okay? And they're talking all about white wine. They get some nice articles in here, how to preserve white wines, keep it chilled, and how white wine is made, and stuff like that. It's all the grapes, white skins. You can make white wines. You can make a white wine from a red grape. The thing is, you got to eliminate the skin, right? Because the grape gives the red wines its color. Okay, so simple as that. But anyway, so one of the 10 best wines to drink, the grape, 𝐖𝐲𝐬𝐶. Did I say that right, Teddy?
Yes, you did.
And they serve this great wine at the Athenian Corner in downtown Lowell. It's one of my favorites, and it's also a top seller, right, Ted? Is that true? Yeah. And they have a red and also a white, but the white is my favorite. The taste is very clean, refreshing, and it's also got a savory, some nice savory flavors to it. Believe it or not, the red particularly. Okay, and then they got Caracante, which is from Sicily. We've had Caracante before. Great wine. Picks up all those that mineral flavors, and it's got that flinty finish to it because it grows in around Mount Etna area, So it's a great wine to have.
So they keep the oak out of it, do they? They don't ferment it? Good.
Yeah.
Steel
all the way.
I figured there's no oak in there.
And then you got the French and American Chenin Blanc, which is very good. The French made it famous, especially in the Loire Valley. But now, you'd never know. The California winemakers, oh, man, they've turned out some great Chenin Blancs. And even in Oregon, they're doing it. But, and it'd be interesting tasting at your home. Buy 2 inexpensive bottles of Chenin Blanc, one from France, one from California. Put them side by side, and you know what? You will taste the difference because the sense of location, the place. Okay, the Chenin Blanc from the Loire Valley, you'll definitely pick up that marine minerality because of the limestone. The limestone soils different from the California. You get the gravel, sandstone.
Yeah.
So really, really nice, but it's a smooth drinking wine, and you'd have fun doing that. Okay, now they talk about Claret, which is a French wine. I've had Claret. It's nice, a little thin for my taste, but it's very, very refreshing and smooth. Godello Guvera, which is a wonderful Spanish fruity wine. One of the best in the world. It really is a tasty, beautiful grape and wine. The only thing with Godello, it's going to be tough to get one for $20. You know,
High price, yeah.
yeah.
Higher
It's usually in that $25 range, but it's worth trying. Let me see what they have here. Yeah, so they've got 5 recommended Godello wines, and the cheapest one is $35. I've had the Avancia, which is $80. I had it at wine taste. I would not pay $80, but very, very good. And then you got Greco from southern Italy, okay, another great white grape, and Malvasia, which Argentina, Greece, Italy, Slovenia, Spain. So, and then Vermentino roll. We've talked about Vermentino from Sardinia,
I've had a lot of that.
Campania,
Yep,
southern.
yep.
Oh, a very,
That
very
is great,
nice,
yeah.
very Mediterranean taste, and once again, Liguria in Sardinia, Sicily. It's funny that Vermentino really does well in island locations and
Yeah,
stuff, you know. And then Timorasso. Timorasso is an interesting grape. Very, very. It's tough to get because it's so rare, but it's making a comeback, and they're producing more of it. This was a grape that almost went extinct. They found it growing wild in vineyards in southern Italy, and the winemakers decided to make it and use it as a blending grape till they realized the quality was so good. And in the last decade, they produced more and more and sold it as 100% varietal. Well, like anything else, you know, if you were on the inside 10 years ago, now it's gaining popularity. The Italians drink most of it, so it's tough to get, find it in stores, but it's coming in. It's starting to come in more and more. And once again, it's not an expensive wine. You can get a Timoroso for around $20, $15 to $20. I think a Wine Connection, matter of fact, had a Timoroso, and they sold out. David, the last time we were there, David said they sold out, but it was getting more in the Wine Connection and Andover. So, you know, also in the Wine Spectator, how white wine is made. Okay, and then they got some great. Notice that Chardonnay is not listed in their grape drink.
Yeah.
Well, that's because they're giving you variety, but they got a great article in here on Chardonnay, especially California Chardonnay, with some of the prices that might knock your socks off. But you know what? You can't beat California Chardonnay and even the Chardonnay from Burgundy. Okay, so it's all in here. Read it. It's really interesting. You can read it by your swimming pool as you sip your favorite white wine or cocktail, but it's great. But now Mike and I are going to suggest a couple that we like and that I like. So the first one we're going to try and sample is Falanghina. Now, we've talked about Falanghina in the past. It is an ancient grape from Campania in southern Italy. Okay, this grape was one of the favorites for the early popes, especially during the medieval times. And DNA analysis in Italy has revealed they found the amphorae. The amphorae vessels, that's the clay pots, the big clay pots that the Romans used to make their wine in. They actually bury them into the ground, let the wine ferment. Well, the DNA analysis has found that this Falanghina is believed nowadays to be the foundation for the great wine Falernum. Now, Falernum is mentioned in ancient texts. Pliny the Elder talked about it for the Caesar and the emperors. It was one of their favorite wines. But it was always also the favorite wine of
that's nice.
the Roman centurions, Caesar's army. They always used to go to war or the expeditions, their travels. They used to have to pack as much water as they did wine because they said wine made Caesar's army go. Okay, so they had to pack it, and in those days it was a bitter wine. You know, the way they didn't know the fermentation, malolactic fermentation. Everything happened naturally. They really didn't understand it back then. But Falanghina is the ancient, one of the most ancient grapes. It's also got a place as a noble white of southern Italy. Okay, meaning it is prestigious. And this Falanghina, is one of mine because, I mean, just the fragrance on it, huh? Very, very fragrant.
Grapefruit in there. A lot of it. Isn't it nice? Tastes good.
It's almost like you can think of a summer breeze coming and standing along an ocean cliff or near an orchard or something, and that breeze hits you and you say, oh, what are those smells, though? Those white flowers in the air. But it's the taste that matters. Look at that nice golden, it's got a nice little golden hue color to it.
Yeah. Refreshing.
Oh, man, that is nice. You're right.
Very nice.
The grapefruit isn't sharp.
No.
It's there.
Sauce.
Yes, very nice. The texture.
Yep.
And it it really penetrates into your tongue and then moves to the sides where you got your taste for sour, bitter. Like we talked before, you get your fruity, sweet taste on the front of your tongue, and then as that wine moves back, it really sparks your senses and gets those.
It's not buttery at all. Is that fermented in stainless steel? Or
it is fermented in stainless steel.
Wow.
It might see just a little
tad of
oak.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they after the fermentation,
nice. Yep.
But it stays a lot, and this is a wine that ages well. Falanghina, you could put this bottle away for 5-7 years, and it's just going to hold its own. But it's got a nice long. You can tell a good wine from its finish. In this wine, after you sip it and swallow it, boy, it stays with you. You say, wow, I want another sip. What was that? And
well, sip easy. You got another 20 minutes to go.
It is.
It is nice.
It's
nice.
Yeah, it's just got a. You know what? And I was thinking about this. I said, how was I going to describe this wine? Well, there's people go hand gliding and stuff. I mean, I don't have the courage to do that, but it's like you come out of you jump from the plane and you're skydiving. You didn't pull the ripcord yet, and the wind's hitting you, and you're exhilarated. Okay, so that first sip, wow, this is something different. Then you pull that ripcord, and you get lifted up. Before you settled in. Well, that's what happens with this wine, I think. You taste it. Wow, it's different. It's got a little sweetness to it. And then as it filters back, you get this lift, this energy, and I tell you, I just love Falanghina. This is the 𝐖𝐲𝐬𝐞 Falanghina, okay? And we bought this at the Wine Connection. I think it was $15.99 in that range.
Great buy, yeah.
A great buy. And I tell you, you want something different with your friends, but a real fresh taste. And it's great with appetizers, seafood dishes, pasta with seafood. You don't want to combine this with a red sauce, okay? No, but anything like pasta dish, white food. I mean,
grilled chicken salad.
Oh, grilled chicken salad, anything. So that's a good one for you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna take a little more sip now. I gotta drive home. Gee.
Yeah, that is nice. It's not going to shock you. It's a very desirable, easy to go with wine.
Yeah. Okay, a little water. And I'm going to talk about one of my second favorite wines, especially for the summer. And this also has a historic value. This is from the Piedmont, okay, where, Piedmont is the home of Barolo, Barbaresco, Papera d'Alba. Well, it's also known for some great white wines. Roero Anise, okay, which is right in that Nebbiolo area. This is Gavi, okay? And it's from the Cortese grape, an ancient grape. Gavi is a place, a location. This sees a little oak with the malolactic fermentation, but then it's bottled and it rests in the bottle and stuff. But it's another ancient wine favored by the early popes. But now, I mean, it's a great signature wine for the people of the Piedmont and northern Italy. Even in Tuscany, well, every place, Rome, they drink a lot of Gavi, and the reason is, well, it's a little sharper. It's going to be a little sharper than the Falanghina. It's crisp, clean. Okay, and very, very focused, very focused, but a beautiful wine. And they once again, they drink it with. This will be your opener for the evening. Once again, octopus, escargot. Salads, all kinds of salads, seafood salads, whatever, and it's just a very desirable wine. It's got it's got a lot of citrus in it, but also a little. You can detect a little nutty, a little. At least I did a little nutty. Like an almond or something in there on the finish. It's not overly present, but once again, sitting by the pool, people like Sauvignon Blanc, which you've got that, that overwhelming grapefruit flavor and stuff. This is a little more subdued, but it does have that citrus. And unfortunately, Mary Lee and I drank the whole bottle. I said, gee, and we drank it over 2 days. I said, gee, I'm going to save a sip for the show so Mike can have it. Unfortunately, you know what? We were having a good time with it. We finished it off. So you can't taste it, but on my recommendation, and we bought this also at the Wine Connection, and it was in that $16 range also. So. Any questions, Mike? So this is the Larea, the Gavi. This is the Falanghina. Now we're going to talk about a wonderful wine from Piedmont, a red, which you can chill. This is the Cascina Penna Curado Dolcetto d'Alba. Now, Dolcetto is a grape, okay? And this comes from the Barolo zone in one of the most important communes where they make Barolo and Barolo, Barbaresca, Serralonga d'Alba. Okay, so it has an interesting history. What about the smell?
I did, yeah.
You don't like it?
Didn't taste it yet. I'm still trying to figure this.
So, Elena Penna and Luca Curado Vietti used to own the famous Vietti winery that produces Barolo, Barbaresca, Barbera. World famous, one of the top wineries in the Piedmont area for Barolo. In 2016, they sold it to an American company, American family. I think it was the Krause family. Okay. Elena and Luca was the winemaker. Elena managed all the operations, the financial brain, and a lot of the creativity came from Elena, husband and wife. So Luca and Elena, well, Luca stayed on for 7 years to continue to make wines for Vietti. They had a non-compete contract, and after 7 years, he was released, and he and Elena had purchased a former monastery that used to make wines for charity. They'd sell their wines for charity, okay, in a gorgeous place not far from the Vietti winery, but it was a smaller operation. So in 2022, they took it over. This is the first vintage of their the Dolcetto d'Alba, and I looked on the reviews for it, and they were mixed because they were just putting things together, and really didn't have a whole lot of time to put together that first income-producing vintage. Even their Barolos. Matter of fact, 2023 was their first vintage of Barolo, but it's not going to be for sale till 2027. You want to look for that because, Luca Corrado was the winemaker for Vietti, which turned out, I've got a bunch of them in my cellar, 95 points, 96 points. We've got them, Vino Italiano carries them. They're exquisite wines. So this is a 2022 where I said the ratings were mixed, but sometimes you believe them. Even though they were mixed, it didn't say it was a bad wine. It just said, hey, it's not up to the standards that of Luca Corrado, and the experts admit, don't worry, they're going to get it all together. Well, we haven't gotten to 2023 yet, okay? I purchased this at Vino Italiano, and so I'm interested to see what that tastes like because the reviews have increased, for the 2023 and the 2024.
If it's a 23, they must have graded it.
Yeah, it's already out. Just hasn't come into this country, and David Mayone hasn't gotten any. This was from last year, the 2022. It's always like a year behind or a season behind and stuff. Yeah, so it's in a historic zone, and the three vineyards that they use, Elena and Luca, the vines are 40 to 70 years old. So that fruit is going to be really, really good and concentrated, and they're working hard. And now both their son and daughter are involved in the operation. So it's a family operation. If you go on their website, Cascina Penna Corrado, you see the gorgeous land and the vineyards. It looks beautiful, and they've done renovations to the original winery, which needed a lot of work. They're still working on it and stuff, but it does look. They show you pictures from the inside and stuff, and some of the history of it. So no doubt, Luca Corrado, he's well known in Italy and throughout the world. He's going to put this Cascina Penna Corrado, which is a combination of both his wife's name and his name. They're going to put it on the map. I'm interested in seeing what that Barolo is when it first comes out and stuff, But yeah, a lot of history. In the monastery, and I was reading about it, it dates back to the 16th century. 1554 it was founded. So those lands, whether it was the monks or whoever, and started growing grapes, it got a lot of tender loving care for a long time. So this bottle, it's not cheap. Cheap in my estimation for Dolcetto d'Alba. It costs, I think it was $29 for this. But once again, with the chill, what do you think? What do you think? Did you taste it?
Yeah, we've tasted so many red wines. Isn't it something how every one tastes just a little bit different than the other one? So you've got to maybe have a few sips to appreciate it or to negatively rate it either way, but it's...
So it's got raspberry and cherry flavors. Most Dolcetto does. It's a fruity grape. This falls a little flat.
Yeah.
Falls a little flat. A little tannic.
It's in there, but it doesn't stand out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It fades.
Yeah,
It
fades.
fades.
It fades as
you know?
soon as
I mean, it's drinkable, and I like
Yeah.
with the chill on it. It tastes a little more like raspberry
Like grape drink or
strawberry.
something,
Yeah,
yeah.
yes, a grape drink. You get that grapiness
yeah.
to it. So, but once again, it's an option. And even if you don't buy this brand, Dolcetto d'Alba is a great sipping wine. And like I said, you could put a chill on it. Takes a chill pretty good. This isn't bad. And pizza. Good pizza wine.
Yeah, within
Meatball
reason.
sandwich.
Yeah.
The nice eggplant parmesan from Mama's and 𝐁𝐿𝐞, right? I'm not going to get fired, Teddy, am I? Because I mentioned Mama's. Okay. Maybe Teddy will even let you take a bottle at the Indian corner, but you'll have to sit in the back, okay, behind the screen. But yeah. So those are some options for you. But like Mike started out the show, is a good question, about putting an ice cube in a white wine. You know what? That's fine. And there's nothing wrong on these really hot days about putting a chill on a red wine.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? I wouldn't do it with a Cabernet or Merlot,
No.
a Barolo, a Brunello, some of those. But you know what? It's up to you. If you like it, do it. That's what I say. I say leave well enough alone, or leave bad enough alone. So that's it. That's the take for the day. But certainly, you get some great Portuguese and Spanish wines that native to the population. They chill them all the time. So
Very good. Very good.
so what else?
That's about it for today, I think. I like that white wine that we had.
Yeah, the
that was,
Falanghina.
that was good. Nice
Very,
and
very
smooth. Not buttery at all, which I don't like in Chardonnays. And that had a nice...
Yeah. Drink some Falanghina, and you could hear the Roman centurions, marching right by your swimming pool.
Boy, you're on a lively mood today, I'll tell you.
I know. So anyway, well, that's it for today's show. We hope you're enjoying your summer. It's heating up out there, so stay cool. Drink a nice cool wine, and enjoy. Right,
Very
Mike?
good.
May the wine be with you.
Be with you and me.